many people, the COVID-19 pandemic has passed and is not given much thought or news coverage. Yet there's a growing number of people who have reported symptoms that have never left them. Many of them have had these symptoms for years. The Office of National Statistics estimates that over 2 million Britons have long COVID. You may have it, or you may know someone who is struggling with it. My name is Paul, and I've been debilitated by long COVID since January 22. In this podcast, I'm going to share my journey and things I've experienced along the way. My aim is not to give medical advice. I'm certainly not qualified to do that. But I've been gaslit, ridiculed and dismissed for my symptoms, and I know it can be a very lonely place to be. It's an invisible illness, and I just want people to know that they're not alone. Well, hello to my long COVID community, and thanks for downloading and listening to this latest episode, which is called I Cannot Face Recording a Podcast. Ironic, yeah? Because I am recording it. However, there has been a gap, at least a few weeks. And first of all, how have you been this last few weeks? I would like to hear from you. It's great to hear from how you've been. I hope this episode finds you okay. I, as the title suggests, have not been in a good place for the last few weeks to record an episode. And I've touched on this before, but the thing about chronic illness is it grinds you down, because every single day can feel like Groundhog Day. Every single day you're struggling to get up, you're struggling to do normal things. Everything feels like an enormous challenge. You're juggling your energy levels with the needs of yourself and possibly your family. And that's even before you have periods of feeling crashed out or overexertion or post-exertional malaise. And for me, it's the monotony of that ends up making me feel really down, I think, and depressed. And I talked about this in a recent article, which you can read, but depression is real, and the depression, I think, just comes from that daily grind. And I'm okay for a certain period of time, and then what will happen is it will just start to get me down and down and down. And the way depression comes out or manifests itself for me is that I start to lose interest in everything. And I mean everything. Even the things, or maybe especially the things, which previously would bring me joy, like recording these episodes. And I just haven't been able to face doing them for the last few weeks. And it's only been in the last few days I've started to feel a bit of joy back, a bit of spark back, and a wincy amount of energy that I've been able to even face doing this and recommencing my writing that I do, and also these podcast episodes. So that's where I've been the last few weeks. I keep apologising, but I shouldn't, because as I've said before, we need to have permission to be able to rest when we need it, and I've certainly needed to just take that time out and recharge before I commence again uploading these episodes. I guess the other thing that comes with doing something like a podcast or the writing that I do is that you can often feel like an imposter, like, you know, who are you to do these things? Everybody else is doing it so much better. And my particular situation is that I constantly feel guilty that I can't work and provide for my family. And, we're doing okay at the moment, but there will become a point where things will get quite stretched financially. And I'll go through these phases of looking for work. And this will resonate with you if you're in the same situation as I am. Thinking, I've got to go to work. Right, what can I do? And you look for the job adverts and you maybe see one or two things and you think, I could apply for that. I could possibly do that. But of course, you can't really, because what employer is going to take somebody who only has the briefest amount of energy levels and has to manage everything and has to take lots of time off? No one's going to do that. And then the reality comes crashing down and you feel deflated and pretty helpless, I would say, and pretty ineffective, because if you don't earn money in our culture, in our society, you're not really worth something as far as some other people might be concerned. I hope this is all making sense. Bit of a foggy brain today. But yeah, so I know it's wrong, and I know we are worthy and we are worth incredible amounts, and we're not and shouldn't be measured by how much we earn or how much we do. But sometimes exterior pressures and influences can get to us and get us down, and it also adds to my depression. I'm sure it does. One thing I have managed to do, although not as regular at all, is to continue to write. And writing, for me, seems to be something I can do most of the time, even when I'm feeling really depressed. I'm not sure why, but I just do it. Regardless of whether it's any good or not, which in a lot of cases it isn't. I just feel okay to do it, so I do it because it feels like I can take control of something, and I've really enjoyed it. You can get these random articles. They're not random, but these articles on long COVID to your email inbox if you want to. You just have to click a link wherever you get this podcast and subscribe. You don't have to pay any money to subscribe. I always say if you can afford it, then do. And I had a new subscriber a few weeks ago, a new paid subscriber, and I'm always grateful for that. But if that's not something you can do, then just please do consider subscribing anyway for free, and you will get those articles as soon as I publish them into your inbox. And I love doing them, and I love hearing from you as well. I love the feedback that I get. The dog's chipping in now because she loves the feedback too. Thank you. And it often sparks a conversation or a thread of messages in which people realise that they're not alone. And as I keep saying, that's why I do this, right? So we're building a little community over on Substack, it's called, and once you subscribe you'll be automatically in that community, and you can share messages, you can share instant messages as well as posting on the various articles that I write, and you get these podcasts as soon as they're released. So head on over to that if you feel inclined to do so. Another symptom of how down I am is I kind of obsess over little details. So I had an occupational health visit before my previous podcast, and I think I mentioned the episode on that episode that I'd had one, and I found it really difficult. And the person that did the assessment was perfectly nice. They were assessing me because I applied for a grant for help towards a wheelchair. And, I've had so many assessments like this before. I thought it would be okay. But it was really in-depth. It lasted 2 hours and I was absolutely exhausted. But more than that, afterwards, I kind of focused in on little things that they said, like, the end of your walking stick looks in good condition. And at the time I thought, that's a funny thing to say, but I guess they were saying I probably don't use it much. I don't know, but I do. I use it quite a lot. little comments like that, and they asked me to walk up and down stairs. And at the time, I declined to do it because I thought, I don't want to be knackered and tired for the rest of the day just because of this assessment. And also, what's that got to do with having a wheelchair? So I think I was a bit off. And anyway, I worried about it afterwards. And I haven't had the assessment yet, but I can tell how down I am because I'm zoning on those conversations, which are quite dispiriting at the time and not at all affirming. And also, I don't think any assessment should last for 2 hours, whether it be occupational health, benefits, whatever. I think that's ridiculous to expect somebody with an energy limiting condition to do. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's like a test to see how tired you get. Anyway, I'm tired still of these appointments, which I'm trying to do less and less of. But they are a necessary evil if I'm to get grants and benefits to enable us to live. It's a real irony, isn't it, that the more ill you are, the less equipped you feel to deal with these things, the more forms you have to fill in, and the more appointments you have to attend, and the more you have to prove how ill you are, which is absolutely exhausting in itself. But anyway, I feel like I've turned a corner. In the house here, we are preparing to move because my job came with the house. I was a parish priest before, and I lived in a vicarage, and now I've got to move outside of that setup, that security of having a house that came with a job, and we gave up a council house for me to do this. So the fact that I've got to leave prematurely has meant that basically we needed to live somewhere else, and we're having to rent a house in a nearby town. And all that's been incredibly stressful, but moving actually so far hasn't been too bad. And it was something the removal company said when they quoted us for the boxes and stuff like that. They said, don't stress on packing, just do a little bit at a time. And that kind of stuck with me. And what I've tried to do since then, over the last couple of weeks, is just do a tiny amount of packing at a time. And I've been amazed at how much it adds up to over a couple of weeks. And I'm feeling quite confident that we'll be packed up in time with all the family on board and everything like that. So I'm going to be moving house. I'll let you know how that goes with chronic illness. Maybe you've got any helpful tips you can share with me about what it's like to move house, because come the beginning of June, we will be doing just that thing. I want to thank you for your messages of encouragement. I want to thank you for your emails of encouragement also. All those who've reached out because you haven't heard from me for a while, I really, really do appreciate you, and I appreciate your messages, and I appreciate this community which we have founded, which has sprung up online. If you feel inclined to do so, please do like and share this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And I can't promise that normal service resume, but I do intend on continuing to upload an episode, usually on a Monday. So that's enough talking from me. But I hope that however this episode finds you, that you will find a spark of joy in your day and your days ahead. I hope that if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling like you're reaching the bottom and that there is no way out, and that maybe you're feeling completely useless at the moment and not of value to society, my hope and prayer for you is that you will be seen and you will be heard, and you will realise what an amazing person you are, even to be able to listen to this episode, let alone get up and do all the things that maybe you expect of yourself. But you are enough as you are, and you are battling things that some people, a lot of people, can't possibly comprehend. And until the next episode, I will see you again then. Take care.